So I'm very pleased to say that Rosa Aronson has agreed to be interviewed today for TEFL Equity, and she's the executive director of the TESOL International Association, a former Fulbright exchange teacher. Dr. Aronson started her education career as a foreign language teacher in France. She holds a MA degree in English linguistics from the University of Aix-en-Provence, France, and a PhD in social foundations of education from the University of Virginia in the United States. In 2008, Aronson earned the Certified Association Executive designation from the American Society of Association Executives. In 2015, she was named a Fellow, an honorary recognition for service to the association profession. So thanks again, Rosa, for agreeing to be here. Maybe could you briefly tell the viewers what you do for TESOL International?
Yes, thank you, Marek, for having me. I was selected as Executive Director of TESOL International Association in 2010. And as Executive Director, my role is to, first of all, represent the association with outside groups and organizations. organizations. Secondly, to work with the board on implementing the strategic goals of the association. And third, to manage a staff. Currently, the staff is at 20. So those are my three major roles.
And TESOL International has also a job listings sites. And can you tell us how you deal with the ads that come in, and how do you make sure that they don't involve any discriminatory language?
Right. So TESOL International Association works with a third-party vendor which uploads the jobs on our website. So if I am an employer looking for a teacher, I go to that website and I upload my description. Along the way, there are several times when I get statements to read that clarify that there are certain things that are not acceptable in a job description. We are an association headquartered in the United States, and as such, we are under the laws of the Equal Employment Opportunity Act. And there are a number of possible discriminations that can occur. So we have to be careful along the way to guide employers as they upload their jobs. The non-native English speaker one is only one of many possible discriminations that teachers can be victims of. Employers can unfortunately discriminate by age, by race, by gender. So we have to be careful to do that. At the same time, because we are an international organization and we work with different entities in different countries that have different policies, it's not always possible to completely screen before the jobs are up. So when a job comes up that has discriminatory language, we monitor those on a daily basis. And what we do is we can actually go in the position description, we change the language, and we then send an email to the employer saying, for your information, we have detected this language, which is not acceptable, and we remind them of our policy. We have changed the language, and this is what we wrote instead. And at that point, the employer can choose to either take the job down or accept the language that we have inserted. And I would say that 99% of the time, the employers say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it, or they didn't read, or they didn't read carefully, and they accept the language. And those who don't just take their jobs down.
So have you had any complaints from employers or any concerns about the anti-discrimination policies that TESOL has?
No, really no. As I said, most people are apologetic, and it's obvious that they haven't read the policy we had, or they haven't read it carefully enough. So most of them simply apologize and move on. And I don't remember actually being aware of anyone complaining about it. What they may do is take the job down if this is an important thing for them, and they don't want to change in the language.
And apart from this, with the jobs listings, what other advocacy work does TESOL International do?
Well, TESOL International Association, as you know, represents educators of English language for speakers of other languages, I would say. And as such, one of our core functions is to really have an advocacy goal. And by advocacy, we mean really work toward elevating the status of the profession, give members tools and resources so they can advocate for themselves, and also educate policymakers as they think of and formulate educational policies, so that when they do so, they understand what issues they have to consider. But again, in this case, we, if you look at TESOL International Association as an international organization, it's very difficult for us to monitor all of the policy issues that take place in the world. And so we rely on our network of affiliates to do so and conduct this advocacy work.
And finally, how do you think we could encourage a local teaching association to get involved as well in advocacy work? Perhaps many are concerned that it's perhaps beyond the remit, or perhaps they don't want to get involved in politics. What kind of things could local associations do for their teachers to try and stop discrimination?
Well, as I said, there's such a wide variety of possible discriminations in very different policy contexts. It would be very difficult for us to apply a one-size-fits-all to all these situations. What we can do is educate. So we can educate. I'm sorry, I don't know if you hear the phone ring, but my phone is ringing. We educate policymakers and organizations that are interested in learning about this work. And I would say that we are currently in the process of selecting a task force to work with all our affiliates to kind of strengthen this affiliate program we have. And I can see, and I don't want to preempt the work of the task force, but I can see that that is an area where we could do more for our local affiliates, and they could do more with us in terms of learning how they could empower their own members. Our affiliates really vary a lot in size, capacity. Many of them don't have a paid staff. They only have volunteers. And so it's very difficult for them to actually have a whole line of work around advocacy. Some are very strong, some are less so. So I think you can't apply a one-size-fits-all again, but I think there is an opportunity for us to do more with our affiliates.
Fantastic. And on this note, I just wanted to say that TESOL France has already taken steps to take down ads which they find discriminatory, like which have, for example, which require the candidate to be a native speaker. And another organization in Bavaria, in Germany, Melter, has done the same. And very, very recently, TEFL International has decided to take very similar steps. So perhaps there is some momentum for wider changes.
There is momentum. I mean, TESOL has a long history around this initiative. The research is very clear. I mean, there is really no more reason at this time, in this age, to have this kind of language in a job description. There's just absolutely no reason for it.
Thank you very much. I think that's a perfect phrase to end our interview with. So I'd like to thank you once again for finding time to be with us here today.
Thank you, Marek.